So, Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 2, another defeat, third on the spin, and another game without a goal, and a game which I think highlights some of the tactical limitations that this side has. Going into the game though, I thought that the lineup was pretty good. I thought the attack was solid. Really good to see Pedro Neto back in the side. It was quite a fluid front three in fairness, with Neto, Pedence and Hwang. We've seen a few people online suggest that, and Bruno went with that today, probably to just try and keep the Palace back four on their toes. But there wasn't even any need for that today, because overall we were pretty hopeless. I think that's been nice as well. Just an all-round very, very sloppy performance, a slow performance. Again, very similar to West Ham. Just no intensity in our passing or our pressing. And our opposition today did the opposite, really. We saw that in the away game against Palace, pressed us off the park, struggled to break them down, and we lost 2-0, and the exact same thing happened today. I thought Zaha, Elise as well, Mateta, very, very impressed with them, but they were helped with some of the worst defending we've seen this season, and I'm not really too sure what's happened. I think the defence has looked really good for the majority of the season. All of a sudden it seems to be just going to pot. And it's not even the fact that Hoover and Marçal started. I know Hoover came off after 20 minutes, so you can't really say too much about him. But even though we've got fullbacks that aren't as good as Semedo and Ait-Nouri, I think the majority of the mistakes came from the central areas. The centre-backs were really, really poor. Just a lack of intelligence defensively and in possession as well. I mean, the first goal was an absolute mess. Really poor defending from Cody, uncharacteristic this season. And then Sarr tries to get it. There's an argument to be made there that he had both hands on the ball. But I didn't really see too many people make that argument. The players didn't even complain, so maybe not. And then the second goal as well, just poor defending all around. Kilman, he looks out of sorts recently, to be honest. And that's a really sloppy challenge on Schlupp. I don't even know why he's trying to get the ball. Schlupp's touch is heavy. It's going out of play. You know, just try and stand him up at least. Silly challenge. And Zaha converts the penalty well. Yeah, and apart from that, we just didn't get anything going forward. And you mix that with a midfield battle that we lost every time, with the two in there and a lack of physical presence. And a defence that was making comical mistakes at times. It was never really going to be a game that we had any chance of getting anything out of. And it's disappointing because we've had such a great season, and I think it's starting to tail off a little bit. I think that the lack of tactical flexibility is really shooting us in the foot. And I think you can blame Bruno and Fosun for that. I think at times Bruno's selection is poor. For me, if Ait-Nouri's fit, it has to start. Marçal has shown absolutely nothing in any of the games he's played. The only argument people have for Marçal is that he's defensively better, but the numbers and the eye test can suggest that Ait-Nouri batters him in both departments anyway. So I've got no idea why Ait-Nouri didn't start. Marçal started against West Ham and was terrible, so he rested Ait-Nouri, so I don't know why he's not played him. But I also think that the lack of backing for him has meant that this tactical flexibility isn't able to be implemented. He has to play with another man's team, another manager's team, and I'm afraid that there is a certain bar that you hit when you're trying to play a system with that a team is not familiar with, or with a team that has been under management for 4 years. Yes, we should be at the stage of the season now where you can see things changing, but I do think that this team does have a level and does have a bar and a ceiling, and I think we have hit that. And I think that the lack of backup options, quality backup options in the wing-back positions is stupid, considering how important they are to this team. So yeah, very, very disappointing performance. Not really much to talk about from a Wolves perspective, rather than, the fact that we were slightly better in the second half at creating chances. I thought Chiquinho again was good when he came on. I think that he's a really exciting prospect. It'd be nice to see some of the younger players get given a go with the first team players clearly not pulling their weight. Just disappointing with the mentality, really. Thought Neves and Moutinho were well off it today. It's just all round sloppy. Jose Sarr for me is probably my pick of the bunch. Made some superb saves. But, apart from that, really, really nothing to say about that performance. Just another drab game. Another game without a goal. Questions have got to be asked.
I don't even know where to start with that one. I don't even feel like I've watched a game of football. From the get-go, Palace were on the front foot, and we just looked like a team bereft of confidence. You know, that's 3 losses on the bounce now, and I think that showed today. The front three was something that I had personally called for. I think it was the Brighton game away where I said we need to go with more fluidity. But that never happened today. It was almost sticking to the same positions, no roaming across the front three. Neto looks miles off it, admittedly. You know, he's been injured, he's been out, that's going to happen. Same with Johnny, but the only issue I've got with Neto playing on the right is, traditionally, in a Wolves show, he's always wanted to get to the byline and whip a ball in and use his left foot, whereas coming inside today, it just didn't work. But I think that was the least of our issues. Created absolutely nothing. I think if you take the 2 fullbacks out of the game, like Nuri and Semedo, we look a team on our arse. And that shouldn't be the case, though. That really shouldn't be the case. Not sure what the situation with Hoover. Johnny came on and did okay, but we've gone from having one of the most solid defences in the league to absolute pansies. I'm not sure whether Kilman's been affected by what's happening in Ukraine. Obviously, he's got Ukrainian family. I think his father was Ukrainian. But if that is the case, get him out the side. He's had 3 poor games now. But he's nowhere near good enough. I think the only reason we had more share of the possession and chances in the second half because Palace stood off us and let's have a go. We could have played all day and not have scored. Nowhere near good enough. Clueless, absolutely clueless. It's a difficult one. We need a reaction against Watford on Thursday, but I don't fancy us. Not after the last 3 performances. There's no, apart from Fabio Silva's cameo at West Ham, there's been no positives in the last 3 games. Has to change. Don't know what's going to change, but whether it's system, personnel, something's got to.
Not to be dramatic, but that first half was definitely one of the worst performances I've seen in quite some time. Wolves not at the races today, unfortunately. That's 3 defeats now in a row as well, all from London teams, where we usually do quite well going there, but obviously back at home I expected a little bit of a rejuvenated performance. That was not shown at all, really. The lineup gave me some concerns, mainly because there's still no return for Ciaran Aït-Nouri, and Hoover at right back is not for me, unfortunately. He went off for Johnny, who was really not that much better. So we are seriously lacking Semedo and Aït-Nouri, I think, which makes the defence a whole lot better. Because they were very, very, very shaky in the first half, and Palace could have easily quite scored 4 or 5, 6 goals. In the second half, we were a lot better. But there's still no urgency, there's no creativity, there's in the way that we play the ball forward. You know, we're lacking a striker on the pitch. There's no Raul, there's no Fabio. There's kind of an interchanging thing going on with the front 3 of Hwang, Podence and Neto. It all just seemed a little desperate to me. Kind of screamed that Bruno didn't really know what to do, which is unlike him. I went to Palace away earlier in the season, and it was quite obvious to tell that we lost the battle in the midfield quite easily. So I thought for sure Bruno would notice that and go 3 in the midfield today. I suggested on Twitter to put Saiss in midfield because he's a bit of an enforcer. I thought it would be a good idea. We missed that today. Dendoncker even, I think, would have made a difference, but we lost the midfield battle in the first half quite severely. They pinned us back and scored 2 goals. I just don't see how we've gone from potentially cracking the top 4 to relegation tier football in the space of a few weeks. We've been really undone, and something needs to change quickly. I don't know what it is, but that's why I'm not the manager. Bruno needs to earn his coin now. I know he wasn't backed, but something needs to change with this side because it's really disappointing. On to Watford. Let's hope we see a better performance there, because if not, then the fan base will go into serious meltdown, I fear.
Hey everybody at Talking Wolves. Hope everybody is well and overcoming that terrible game. Personally, it was one of the worst first halves I've ever seen at Molineux. For one, I didn't really hear much singing from the crowd from kickoff. It was quite quiet today. which would probably be expected from the last few performances that we've had. Same again today, absolutely awful. No passes really, key cut passes through on goal, no really key cut shots on goal, and no effort really put into the game. The only person I feel like put effort into the game, or like I'd say put on a good effort when they came on, was that young kid, that Chiquinho. Sorry if I butchered the name, but I feel like he came on and he gave everything he had, even though he was 2-0 down. But it's just not good enough. They've just lost the touch. Ever since the last 2 defeats, we would have thought we'd come back fighting. Total opposite. We just need a proper kick up now, because I can't really call any key moments from that game. Penalty was a stone-cross penalty, took him out, and it was a poor game for Kilman, especially as Southgate was there. Probably not one of the best games for Southgate to pick from, but just a very poor performance from Wolves today, and we better book our ideas up when we come up against Watford, because we can't be dropping points as we are, because we just need to turn it around now, and hopefully in our second game change it up a bit, and hopefully we can do something about it. But as well, Hoover is just leaving too much space, and he was just kicking the ball away too much for me, in my opinion. But there's no runs were getting made for players to even pick from either, so it's quite hard to even judge on what to say about that, to be fair. But we go again against Watford, and hopefully we have some result there. Cheerio, guys.
Can't quite believe what we've all just watched, to be honest with you. You'd think coming off two losses would give us a bit of a kick up the arse into playing a bit better than we have in the past 3 games, really. Even at Leicester, I don't think we played particularly well. But today I thought, okay, back at home, in front of all home fans, you want to prove something, you want to prove that you can play. And we didn't turn up again. From minute 1 to minute 90, we did not turn up. Too many players just walk into this team when they shouldn't, and they're just complete passengers. They can't pass, they can't bring the ball out, they don't win headers, they don't battle, they don't look arse to be playing, they can't put any balls into the box, they don't get into the box. Too many players are like this. To start with, I think you got the team wrong again. You can't play 3 really small attacking players against their 6'5" defenders. And when you're not a team who can particularly pass out the back well through the midfield, because all the midfielders do is receive the ball back to goal and pass it back to the defenders for the defender to then try and lump it forward. If you can't pass out from the back well, that means you have to go long from the start. And that's what we ended up doing. And the ball just kept going back and back. No one's asked to win the second ball. We got overrun in midfield again. Too many games of late, we've been getting beaten in the midfield. And that's ultimately where we're going wrong. Their first goal is completely laughable. Mix up between the goalkeeper and Cody. You've got to either put the ball in row Z, or Sar's got to come early and collect the ball. It's as simple as that. We've messed that up, and we're claiming for something like we always do. And the second one, I could not believe what I was watching at the time. 3, 4, 5 chances we've had to clear the ball away from any particular danger, and it's come straight back into them. We've had dangling feet, people stop running, no help when we have the ball. No one's asked to get out of the box, and then Kilman's it was particularly poor today, which I can understand because he's obviously got a lot on his mind and stuff, but it's just completely wiped him out, and he's given a penalty. And the game was done then. The game was done. Even we had a spell of maybe 1.5 minutes towards the end of the first half, and we come out second half, and we still didn't look like scoring. We could have played all week and we wouldn't score. Booed off at half time by a lot of fans. And to be honest, I can see why. Especially after the three losses that we just had. You know, we as fans, we pay a lot of money to go and watch and play, travel the country to watch and play. And you're putting in performances like that. It's not great to see, but really poor again. I'm a bit stuck on what we do here, what the problem is. We don't seem to be attacking well at the moment, but also we don't seem to be defending too great either. And I'm not really sure what the answer is today or going forward, because whoever you seem to play in these positions, there's something not quite there. And I think it always, it leads back to our recruitment from even the start of the season to the January transfer window. You're not going to have players having lots of runs of form all the way through the season. You need a player to come in and be ready to fill in that hole, take over when someone's not playing that great, or injuries for starters. Hoover coming in for Semedo, wrong choice. And he come off injured, and then Johnny's had to come in, who's not played a minute of football, looked miles off it, which is fair enough to him. And it starts killing us off early. So we need a bit of a change now, a bit of a mix up in the way that we play, a bit of a rethink. Go back to a bit earlier on in the season where we seem to be controlling the play, controlling the ball. Our passing was crisp and direct, and we knew everywhere where it was going. We had a style of football, how to play. But now we seem lost completely. We're lumping the ball forward to people who are not going to win the ball, and bringing people on. And it looks great that, oh yeah, we're losing 2-0. Bring on players, take off the defender, bring on forward players, get forward, let's throw them get back in the game. But it's fine doing that. But when the players don't know what to do with it once they get it, that's our main problem. And even so, we've had. I'm not saying we've had chances, because we haven't had chances. There was one that was offside where Size has headed it down to Kilman. Just shoot. No one shoots anymore. Everyone's waiting to walk it in and try and get the best goal. Just shoot. That's what loads of people want to see. Just have a shot on target. Really poor again today, and I'm sick of saying it at the moment. So we need a big performance on Thursday night against Watford, who will be well up for it because they're down and out at the moment. So big changes need to happen. But yeah, move on to Thursday. See you later, boys.
0 Crystal Palace 2, and things have really taken a turn in the last 10 days or so for Wolverhampton Wanderers, haven't they? For the third game in a row, pathetically poor. It's the only way you can really describe it. Terrible performance all round, from number one to the top. Spineless, gutless, seriously. Once again, the second weekend in a row, I've just been left watching them thinking, for God's sake, this is pathetic. And it was, really. First half especially, little bit better in the second half. But once again, I think the second game in a row, we didn't miss a chance. The last chance I can remember Wolves missing on goal was Hwang in the 47th minute at Arsenal. That is 2.5 games ago. That is not good enough. I don't care who you are. Burnley lost 4-0 to Chelsea today. And I can guarantee you Burnley probably missed a chance in that match. I haven't seen, but they probably did. Wolves are creating nothing. Starting 3 wingers across the front 3 was a mistake from Bruno, and I hope he never does it again. Wolves have to play with a number 9. Fabio Silva, Raul Jimenez, both on the bench, not good enough. You've got to play one of them. I thought Silva was impressive last weekend, so if you don't want to start Raul, start Fabio, but you need a striker up there, no matter what. Just to link play, if anything. We know they haven't been great this season, but we need one to link play. And there was nothing in the first half. Nothing came off. Nobody tried anything. We were bossed. We were pressed. We were absolutely rammed by Crystal Palace in the first half. Crystal Palace this is Man City now. No disrespect to them, but they were really good today. But Gallagher, Kayate in the middle, Zaha and Elise, both working back, completely nullified any threat Wolves had. It was just terrible. And the defenders, they've forgotten how to defend the last 3 games as well. Like Kilman, you can obviously feel for him because you can tell something's probably going on with him at the moment, and you'd like with everything in Ukraine. So don't want to go in too heavily on him. But Sice, like I said the last time, has been poor since he came back from AFCON. And the wing backs as well. Nelson Semedo is such a loss to this team. Like you wouldn't believe. Seriously, Ciaran Hoover started, didn't start well, was taken off through injury. Johnny came on and wasn't great. Although he was probably the best of a bad lot today. And the other side, Marcel. I don't know why Ryan Nori's playing. I really don't. I don't know if anyone in the comments could tell me either. Because why is he playing? Like, why isn't Ryan Aït-Nouri playing? Marcel offers nothing either way. Unless Aït-Nouri's fallen out with Bruno Lage, there's no reason why he shouldn't have been starting against West Ham and again today. And if he doesn't start on Thursday, there's something seriously wrong, because Marcel is shit. Sorry, but he is. Like, there's no other way you can put it. And now Wolves look short in the wing-back area with Hoover out injured as well. Well, what it looks like it to be an injury. Jimenez came on in the second half, tried, but Wolves still didn't really create much. Ruben Neves and João Moutinho totally overpowered in midfield today by Gallagher, Kiate and the likes. And Crystal Palace did a full number on us for the second time this season. And Leander Dendoncker, I'm not his biggest fan at all, but he didn't kick a ball in the 180 minutes we played against Crystal Palace, one of the most physical midfields this season. And you just think, where's the logic? You play a front three with no real strength. Neto back in today from the start. Was glad to see him, but he wasn't great. But you can give that to him because it's his first full start back. You play front three with barely any physicality against a strong physical back line with Mitchell, Guehi and Anderson. You're going to struggle. Like, it's basic logic, really. Later on in the game, Chiquinho came on. I would start him against Watford because he was good. He looks good. Like, really, he does. He looks sharp, he looks bright, he looked good in the 23s game the last night as well. I'd start him. What have we got to lose? Because, in my opinion, if we play like that, we'll be lucky to finish top 10, less than only in the top 7. A serious wake-up call for Wolves over these last 10 days, because it has been diabolical, and there's no other way to put it. And I don't know if I'm being too harsh on them here, because they have had a good season. But if Wolves don't score the first goal in games, bar that miracle we had at Aston Villa, we're going nowhere. We cannot get back into games because this team doesn't score goals. It's the third worst attack in the league. It's not really good enough, though, is it, when you think about it? And the defensive stats are going to shit now as well, which means Wolves will lose games. It's not rocket science at all. But yeah, Hwang, I thought, decent up front. He tried things that didn't come off, but at least he tried. And the rest of them, Jose Sa was good today. He still let in 2 goals. He made some good saves from Elise and Zaha and the like. Just a really, really bad day for Wolves. And if we play like that against Watford, they will bully us and they will beat us. I'm begging for a reaction against Watford because I thought we might get one today after what we saw at West Ham at the weekend, but it wasn't coming. And things are going downhill fast. So Wolves need to sort it out. They've lost 3 games in a row for the first time since the opening 3 of the season, which they were unlucky in. But in my opinion, they've deserved to lose the last 3. And it's all about the reaction now to make sure this season doesn't peter out, because it was going so well up until 10, 12 days ago. So, Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 2.
I'd like to start by saying Marcel, I'm not having it anymore. He's played absolutely woeful today. Every time I can remember him playing, he's played woeful. And he has the audacity to not clap off, really, well, fair enough, the small amount of fans that were still left in the stadium. It just goes straight down the tunnel. After a performance like that, to not even clap the fans. Absolutely awful. Attacking was starting to really resemble last year under Nuno, which is not something you want at all when you talk about how you want to play. I do wonder what they actually do on a training ground, because it's the same problems we've had all season, really, and he's had months to try and work out how to put the ball in the back of the net with the players we have, and he just hasn't worked out how to do that. Since losing Semedo, seems like everything's just fallen apart, really. Aït-Nouri, I'm hearing he had a virus. I was really annoyed when I found out he wasn't starting, and naturally so when he played awful. But yeah, I think we need a big summer, because players clearly aren't good enough. Lars clearly not happy with the players. He's just come out and dragged Hoover publicly, which I'm not sure whether I agree with, being he's a young, fairly inexperienced player. But yeah, hoping that doesn't create any problems. I can see maybe Connor Cody taking an issue with him dragging players like that. But I don't know, I guess it's at the point now where he has to say what he has to say and he's not happy with the players. But yeah, it's just awful today to see the stadium at about the night before full time. Basically, I'd say there's a few thousand in there at a push. It was awful, but you can't blame them because it was just awful to watch. The second half wasn't as bad as the first half, but that first half was absolutely shocking. We just have nothing going forward. I want to see Chiquinho starting because he brings energy. He looks like he wants to play, and you know, I think there is a bit of complacency in the team. Maybe we've got a small squad, and some players maybe think, "Oh, I play bad. I'll play the next game and get my appearance fee, get my wage." And yeah, because they're not going to lose their place. A lot of these players, Chiquinho, he brings energy. He's exactly what we need. Movement. I want to see him start Fabio as well. Why not? As for Raul, actually, I do want to say about Raul Jimenez. He played well when he came on. To be fair, I know a lot of people have been saying he's awful, but he did play well when he came on. But yeah, I think I'm not sure if it's Watford next or if we have someone away before that. But we really need to start winning games. Basically, it's that simple.